Howdy, 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 howdy. This is a Swarm by Artium Instruments. Artium was kind enough to send this over for me to check out and spend some time with. And to tell you how it works. More importantly, show you what it sounds like. Because if you're like me, when you're shopping for a synthesizer on the internet because you live in a place where there are no shops that carry synthesizers, it's handy dandy to just watch somebody play the dang thing. So you can listen with your ears. It's even more helpful if that person doesn't talk while they're playing. And you're out of luck there. Firmly out of luck. But yeah, hey, thanks for coming by this evening. I've got a lovely peppermint rooibos tea in the mug here this evening. Cheers. A little bit of stevia in it. And more importantly, we've got the Swarm from Artium Instruments on the desk. And I figured what we could do is just like go, top left this way and look at what everything does. My favorite thing about this synthesizer is that it is truly knob per function. There is no shift button. There is no menu. All of the functions of this synthesizer are present on the front panel. And there are a couple of octave buttons on the back, but that's it. What you see is what you get. And that is just so refreshing and wonderful in the age of shift buttons and alt functions and things that my brain cannot remember. It's great that I don't even know that there is a manual for this synthesizer. There's some good information online, but a lot of the synths and effects I have to have the manual out while I'm using them to remember how everything works. Not so with the Swarm. It does what it says on the tin, so let's jump in. First thing to talk about is the fact that it is powered by USB-C and has a host port as well, so it's powering the key step here. And Artium claims that pretty much any standard MIDI controller will plug right in and boot right up and be fine. There's some really fun stuff with the built-in arpeggiator and clock here that actually make some of the functions on the key step unnecessary, or at least you can be confident that if you have the most basic MIDI keyboard in the world, you're not going to be left out of things like hold and arpeggiation. Because those things are found on the synthesizer. So let's start there. The Swarm basically has two main modes. Polyphonic mode, in which both of these switches are down. You've got an 8-voice polyphonic synth. And then when we flip the arpeggiator on, it becomes a monosynth. I'm gonna turn the attack decay down. Turn the clock up a little bit. And here we've got an arpeggiator. Built right in with a hold function. As we add notes, they become part of the sequence. Clock knob is here. Let me turn these handy dandy effects off just for a moment. Now we can clock the synth two different ways. When this switch here, the little clock switch, is pointing toward the clock knob, guess what? The clock knob controls the clock. However, when we point it toward this switch here, which is not a conductive switch, by the way, it's a piezo, so it wants like a tap. We've got a tap tempo. So let's go back to our clock knob here. Our octave knob here. We've got one octave here, but this will control the span of the arpeggiator as we turn the knob clockwise. Did you see the LED blink to show us that we were changing modes? We've got like 2 octaves. Here's our blink again. I think we can get up to 4 octaves here. There are, I think, 5 different direction modes on the Arpeggiator. I should have jotted down which ones are where, but you've got your basic up, down. I believe there's a random, and then all the way on the far end of the knob is order. There's one more in there somewhere. But part of the fun is just twisting the knob and using your ears. Now you saw me tweak these a second ago. I've got an attack release envelope generator. Let's just start with its shortest duration. Listen to the release first. Let's go like 50% here and listen to the attack envelope. So pretty standard stuff there, which is great. Now thus far we've had the Detune knob here at about 30%. Let's talk about what that does. At its core, the Swarm is a 7-core supersaw oscillator. So every time you hear a note, it's actually a stack of 7 saw waves. And you've got 8 voices of polyphony when you're in polyphonic mode. So, that's a lot of saw waves. But they're all perfectly in phase when the Detune knob is counterclockwise. Now, I tell you what, let's do some chords here. As we turn the Detune knob clockwise, you're going to hear them slightly begin to separate themselves from each other. And give that classic supersaw sound. Past noon, it gets very, swarmy. Pretty cool, huh? Let's take a listen to the filter. Low pass. Something to note here is that the filter is a fixed resonance. So if that's important to you, you have been informed. I think it's voiced really nicely. We've got 4 different onboard effects on the Swarm here, which is really, really cool and generous and wonderful. Let's take a listen to the delay. First, I'm going to turn this back to like a pluckier envelope. This knob here is like the mix of the delay. And most delays work best if you introduce some feedback so that you can actually hear it. So it's a really warm sounding digital delay. That is clocked with the clock, and this multiplier knob gives us different divisions. Into like shorter territory. It's a sound I love. Oops. I love stuff like that. What I also love doing is this. Arpeggiator and delay. Sharing a clock. But it's fun to manipulate. Life is about having fun. All right, let's talk about the reverb. As you'll hear, it is a stereo reverb. Let's go with a softer attack release envelope here. Unless you hear it dry. And then all the way wet. Did you hear the stereo image kind of change there? Back off. Back on. Really nice stereo image on the reverb. Really pretty reverb. And no supersaw synthesizer would be complete without chorus. Actually, let's start dry and just kind of fade this in. Yeah. Really pretty stuff. And then last, actually, let's crank that all the way and let you hear it. We'll start with nothing. So again, really tastefully voiced. Even at 100% chorus, it's not like bouncing off the walls. It's a very, very dialed in and tuned in synthesizer for making music. Do you make music? You should try one of these. Lastly, look at the freeze effect. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, these touch plates here, you know, if you own like a Lyra 8, you'd be forgiven for thinking that these are conductive, that they use your body to complete a circuit, but they're not. They're piezo switches. So to some degree, they respond to sound and pressure. So like tapping with your fingernail is the way to go with these guys here. The freeze effect is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to grab about a 1 second sample of the sound, and it's going to smear it and kind of lock it in time. So if we turn this at 50%, give a little chord here, and a tap, we grab a piece of it. Now, as you can hear, it is post filter and post effects. To erase the buffer, we turn the knob to minimum, give it a tap again, a couple more for good measure, and it's gone. So, in theory, let's see what happens if we filter it, do some reverb and delay, and grab that. Yeah, so if you want a little more affected and darker freeze, it's at the end of the chain. And again, to erase that, just give a little tap with the knob at minimum. So with that, we've worked from the top left to the bottom right of the Artium Swarm. As you can hear, it's a really beautiful sounding synthesizer, very solid build. You know, it's great. I love that it just sits here on the desk. It's not gigantic. Like this thing can fit in a backpack. One thing I didn't touch on is we do have stereo inputs as well. You can use the effects section with external inputs, and that will mix together with its internal synth engine. We've got stereo outputs, and I can't remember if it's the right or left output. One of them will actually drive headphones. Like it'll take a TRS cable into it, and you can drive your headphones. So that's what the Swarm sounds like. That's how it works. If I were out watching videos on this instrument, I think that's everything I would want to know. I think I'm going to hang out for a few more minutes and put the Swarm through some pedals and just see what happens. Whether you stay or go, thanks for coming by. And thank you to Artium for letting me check out the Swarm.